Welcome. The recording is in progress. If you didn't hear the nice lady and you didn't get that prompt from Zoom saying, hey, recording's in progress. But welcome, a bunch of coaches here. Awesome to see you guys here. This is our 2023 IUS Track and Field State Invitational. This is our pre-competition webinar. We're going to go through a lot of stuff tonight that will give you the details for the upcoming event next Tuesday and Wednesday. Additionally, we will be distributing the event guide, which will have all the deeper details. So if you're looking for deeper details, word-by-word explanations, directions to the venue, all that kind of stuff, that will come up in the event guide, which will go out tonight. Just a little bit of an introduction to the agenda. This is for track and field. Again, I know some folks might have gotten this link for bocce, but this is for track and field. If you are looking for bocce, bocce is not until Thursday the 18th. So this is track and field. Even if you're a bocce coach and you'd like to learn about track and field, you're more than welcome to stay as well. But a little bit of an agenda for tonight. We are going to do some introductions of ourselves. We'll talk about session assignments, divisions. We'll talk a little bit about double checking rosters that we're going to send you to make sure your teams are the most up-to-date teams. We will hit some rule reminders on some key things that we talk about, points of emphasis, bus arrivals, so on and so forth. A lot of the core concepts that you will need to have your team be in a successful spot for next Tuesday and or Wednesday to have a really good day and have a strong competitive outing. So if you don't know who I am, I'm Zach Cintron. I've probably seen you guys at your district tournaments at some point this season. Additionally, we also have Meredith Tarkington, who is with us, who is our track and field chair. She helps with all the prep and setup as well for the event. So you will be seeing a lot of us on site next week. Additionally, you will have our contact info for the remainder of this week. Should you have questions, should you need to reach out about roster updates, so on and so forth. So the teams that are scheduled to go on Tuesday of next week, most of you, I think you know who you are. It's a good chunk of our Frederick group. We have South Garrett High School from Garrett County, and then our whole Washington County crew is set to go on Tuesday of next week. And for Wednesday of next week, we have the other two Allegheny County schools, Allegheny High School, Fort Hill. We have our Charles County teams that are coming out. We have two large teams from Frederick County, and then we have our Prince George's County crew that is coming out as well. You will notice that we have some teams that are combined teams. We have had some smaller teams in some districts. We still want to get them to participate and to hit that 12-person minimum for their student athletes. We've combined some teams. So again, that's something that we do. And if you are ever in that spot in the future where you have an issue where your team's running a little low one year, whatever it may be, again, that's something you can talk to your district rep about. We're very happy to accommodate that. Two notes up front for Tuesday was Wednesday. I'm watching the weather. I'm keeping an eye on it. Wednesday is the one day that is looking kind of iffy. It's partial rain. It's potential scattered thunderstorms. If there's a day that we have to shift, my concern at the moment could be Wednesday. We will make that decision, worst case scenario, Monday morning. So you guys will know Monday morning. Knowing how buses are in districts and how hard buses are to get and how hard it is to get substitute coverage and a million other things, we are going to try to make that call earlier, hopefully even this weekend. But I just want to let you guys know, if you are a Wednesday team, just be on the lookout for an email from us that we may have to shift to Thursday if the weather's not safe for you and your student athletes. But we will let you know as early as we can. So currently at the moment, these are the divisions for day one. These are the Tuesday team divisions that we are looking at. There may be some minor tweaks based on teams. You know, there's kids that drop at the last minute because of, you know, illnesses. There's kids that drop at the last minute because they don't, you know, schools tell you they're not eligible the week of a state tournament. You guys know how the system goes. You know the hurdles that we come to at the end of spring season. You have kids that are graduating that just decide that they've changed their mind, whatever it may be. This is the set divisions that we're looking to go with for Tuesday's crew. You will get a copy of this coming week as well. this is the team division for Wednesday as well. Again, there may be some minor tweaks, but this is the groupings that we're going to go with. And this is the setup that we're going to have. One note that I have for you guys is once we have the division set and all that stuff done this weekend, at that point, if you have kids that drop or don't show up the day of when you go to get on the bus in the morning, we're not going to change the number of student athletes that you have in a division for your team, because then it messes up our scoring calculator. And you'll see why that's important later. So just remind your kids this week, if you see them again and you expect them to be at the state tournament, really hammer in that you need them to show up and be at that state tournament, because it can impact the rest of your team if they don't show up. Team scoring. We've had questions about this in the past. We score pretty traditionally like most high school track meets. It's how NFHS does their higher level track meets as well, especially when it comes to team scoring as opposed to individual scoring. When it comes to team scoring, we do a weighted team scoring because, like you saw on the past slide, not every team has the same amount of kids. What is team scoring? Essentially, for every time you have a student athlete come in first, second, or third place in an individual race or a field event or the relay, you get either 5 points for first place finishes, 3 points for second place finishes, or 1 point for third place finishes. The weighted scoring is based on how many people are in the biggest team of your division. I'm going to go back a slide so you can visualize. The example I'm going to use here is this blue division. So North Point and Westlake and Potomac High School have 15 student athletes on their team. That gives them more scoring chances because they have more kids than Douglas, Fort Hill, and Oxon Hill. The way we even out that division is with weighted scoring, in which, to know what the weight is for Douglas High School, we take 15 and divide it by 14, and it gives you 1.1, whatever the division is. I can't do the math off the top of my head, but it gives you 1.1. So every time Douglas scores a point, they get 1.1 point instead of the 1 point that the 15-person teams get. Same thing goes for your Fort Hill and Oxon Hill. Essentially, we'll divide 15 by 13 to get their weighted score, and then every time that Fort Hill or Oxon Hill gets a point, they get the weighted score, whatever the division works out to be. So that's how that works there. Again, there's a little bit of an example explanation at the bottom. I'm going to take a pause here because I know weighted scoring can be somewhat confusing. Are there questions on weighted scoring that you would like me to answer? I'm going to check the chat as well. No questions on weighted scoring so far. Awesome, because I'm not a math guy. I'll tell you that straight up, and I understand it. So if the non-math guy understands it, you teachers are probably way better off than I am. I'll be 100% honest. This is a really key part that's really going to set the tone for Tuesday or Wednesday, whatever day you're coming, is roster review. After this webinar, I'm going to go in our games management system where all your student athletes have been entered based on paperwork, where their events are entered, where their qualifying scores are entered, and or their final scores from your district meets. And I'm going to run a report that has all your student athletes listed. What I'm going to do is I'm going to send an email to you and your district rep, and your district rep will probably pass it along a second time to you, that I need you to go in and look at your team and really review your rosters. The things that I want you guys looking for are, one, are all my kids that I expect to be on my roster on my roster? Step one, make sure everyone's there. Step two is going to be, do each of my kids have the events they're supposed to be entered into? Again, everybody can be in one track event, one field event, and they can be in a relay, and you can have up to 2 4x1 and 2 4x2 teams on your team as a whole. make sure that your student athletes are in the events that you have them entered into, going into districts and the ones they should be, that you're expecting them to compete in for state. If as you go through your roster, you realize that, hey, I'm totally missing a kid, John's not on my roster, John should be on my roster. If you go and realize, oh, John's on my roster, but he doesn't have his 100-meter, he only has his shot put event listed. Those are things that by Thursday of this week, so Thursday the 11th, at like 11:59 p.m., I'm going to give you the whole day Thursday. We need a response back from you to myself, my email's there, Meredith, her email's there, and your district rep of saying, hey, this kid and or kids are missing, and or they're missing events. Here's their qualifying time that I have and their event. We really, really need you guys to check these rosters, because if there's anything that really goofs up the day for track and field specifically, it's people not being in the right events. This kid wasn't listed, and the landslide that happens in the morning when coaches come to check in of, oh, I'm looking at my roster now. When I've walked up, I didn't look at it before when we sent it online, and there's problems. Because I'm going to tell you guys wholeheartedly and honestly right now, we're not going to make changes the morning of unless it's like a really good reason for it. If it's, I didn't check my rosters, that's not a reasoning. Again, last year, coming back from the pandemic, our first year, we had like a 45-minute landslide of people that didn't check rosters that put us like 45 minutes behind. And when you don't check your roster and we have to update things in the morning, it just hurts everybody's experience. Again, so please, please, please check your rosters. This is the biggest thing I will ask of you. Additionally, when we send rosters, we're going to send a lunch count. Essentially, it's one form. You fill it out, put your team name, your school, put your name as a coach, put your contact info in case we need to reach out to you. And we're going to ask if you want to, I think it's a turkey Wawa pinwheel, a ham Wawa pinwheel, or a tuna Wawa pinwheel. We're also going to have Wawa pretzels, and we're going to have cases of water. Wawa donated all the food for lunches this year, so it's really nice of them, and we're really appreciative of that. So the two things you got to do this week as coaches: check rosters, lunch counts. You make those two things happen by Thursday, and you're going to be rolling when it comes to Tuesday or Wednesday next week, I promise. Event guide. This is going to come out along with the two other things I just mentioned. You can go through and look at it if you want additional details on some of the stuff we're talking about tonight. Again, it'll give you the directions to the facility. That's a clickable link. It'll tell you about food in the area. If you have family or spectators that are coming down the day of, the night before, whatever it may be, it has all that kind of stuff in there. This is the venue layout. If you haven't been there before, this is your first time seeing it. If you have been to one of our IUS track and field state tournaments, same thing. We haven't changed anything. If the system ain't broke, don't fix it. There are some things that we have tweaked. Tent size for track staging is bigger, so we can get more people in there. We can get more coverage from sun, stuff like that. But overall layout has not been changed. Where you see letter A, that is where track staging is at the end of the bleachers. Where you see C in the orange, that is where field staging is for all the field events. And then you can go down the list from there, essentially where the other locations are, the vectors for mini jab, the shot put pits 1 and 2, where D is, the long jump is right along E. Additionally, where you see H and I, we will have things like healthy athletes information, talking about hydration and, eating the right meals and all that kind of good stuff. We'll have merchandise. I know the kids, some of these kids come out and I think they have like 50 or $100 and they just go nuts on merch. Listen, my parents were like, here's $5 for your field trip, Godspeed. All right. So the kids never miss merch. And additionally, the restrooms, the primary restrooms are in this building by H. There is a chance they may have concessions. Prince George's Sports and Learning Complex hasn't gotten back into the full swing of food and beverage because that's a little bit trickier. Still coming out of the pandemic stuff of, quite honestly, just who is going to have the contract to facilitate their food and beverage, but there's a chance we may have it. Softball throw is at the shot put pits. So softball and shot put happen at D. So they are in the same area. That was a very good question. But again, that's the facility layout. And that is the game plan we've gone with for years, and it's worked well. So something that we don't fully have yet until we finish the individual event divisions is what the schedule is for the day of where your team divisions will be. The way we operate to give you guys the best experience and not have you running from track event to field event with your heads cut off and everything's all crazy is on a given day, we will have no less than 3 team divisions. Your team will be in a team division with, 4 or 5 other teams like you saw in the color-coded groups earlier. The way we structure the day is we'll say Division 1 will be running track events. Division 2 will be sitting in the stands relaxing to start the day. Division 3 will be on the field. And then it just rotates from there. So when you're done with the field event, you go into resting. When they're done, again, you can see how it rotates. Essentially, we rotate the division so you don't get stuck in that situation where they just called for my student athlete on the track, but they're out throwing the shot put. We do our best to avoid that by putting full divisions in either all running, either all field events, or all your butts are in the stands. You will see that after everybody goes through the rotation, we do the relays at the end. Again, we'll go Division 1 and do all of the relays for Division 1. We'll do Division 2 and then all the relays for Division 2. We'll do Division 3 and do all the relays for Division 3. And the nice thing about that is as soon as a division finishes their relays, we tabulate their relay scores and we award you guys so you can get your awards. You can hop on a bus and you can do your best to beat the 495 track. So we will keep the end of the day flowing as best we can, but that is a general gist of how the overall flow of the day will go. I will have a definitive schedule of where your team division is on, rotation 1, rotation 2, rotation 3 by this weekend. Again, I'm waiting for changes on your roster reviews to finalize the stuff in our games management system. I could schedule all the events and have a pretty precise view of what that looks like. Any questions on this? I think a lot of districts run this setup as well, but this could be new to some folks. No, that's fine. Again, if you don't want to unmute and ask questions, you can keep throwing them in the chat. Meredith is keeping an eye on the chat, and I've been trying to do my best multitasking. Relay teams, I am not going to go over relay team stuff. None of this has changed. Again, you can have 2 4x1s and 2 4x2s on every team. Again, when you check in for the day, we always ask for you to give us your scratches, anybody that's not around, whatever it may be. One of the more important things is letting us know, are your relay teams fully intact? Did everyone show up? Is there a situation where you lost someone on a relay team? Let's work those things out. Yes, again, good question I saw in the chat. You'll get this slide presentation and a link to the video of this. It'll come out tomorrow/tonight as well. Good question. Relays, again, we want to know in the beginning of the day, do you have anybody missing from a relay? Is there anybody that we can substitute in? And I'll talk about that in the next slide. Again, every relay team needs 2 unified partners, 2 athletes. That's all the same stuff that you guys have heard since the preseason. So all of anybody that's in a running event is considered an automatic alternate for a relay team. If you have somebody that doesn't show the day of when you arrive because they're sick, because there was a death in the family, because they were ineligible for athletics at the last minute, those are legitimate reasons that we will allow you to substitute someone in for a relay. If somebody just didn't show up for school that day, if somebody just decided they didn't want to get on the bus and go to the state tournament, that's not something we're substituting anyone on a relay for. Realistically, that's a team life lesson of, when somebody lets down the team, but again, you can't help illness. You cannot help a death in the family. You cannot help any of those circumstances. We will work with you on that. The one note, if you take a note tonight, is for your relay teams if you have it. If you are substituting in any of your other runners for your relay team, we need you to use your best judgment that the person you're substituting in will not have a better 100-meter or 200-meter time or make your relay team better than your submitted time. Again, we want to make sure there's competitive equity and things are par for the course and people aren't saying, oh, Jimmy didn't come, I'm going to substitute in Alan, but Alan runs the 100-meter time 20 seconds faster than than your first student. Again, we just ask you guys to think about, if you need to substitute someone in, just let us know that it's somebody, and use your judgment to say, hey, this isn't somebody that's going to give me a competitive edge for this team. It's going to give my student athletes a same experience as if Jimmy did show up for the day. The other note that you will see on here, we have Special Olympics internationally. This happens at state games for us. This happens at national games like we just had in Orlando last year. It's going to happen in Berlin when athletes go over there this summer. There's a rule called the maximum effort rule that for relay teams, we automatically enforce that if your relay team runs 20% faster than what you submitted or what their qualifying time was, it's a DQ. We get that there are some circumstances where a team shows up, runs a 4x1 that's the best 4x1 they've ever run in their lives, and it's just because they had a great day and they're at the state championship. We get that, but we also have to do this to prevent anybody that wasn't wholeheartedly running at district tournaments, anybody that submitted a low qualifying time. We want to make sure it's an equitable experience and a good experience for everyone. Again, this is something that we put in for relay teams just to make sure the competitive balance stays, everything's good. Nobody's sliding in qualifying times that aren't appropriate for their team and then outrunning them by 20% or more. This is a point that I will also make, that while we don't enforce the maximum effort rule for all the other individual races or the field event, as we post results, as a field event ends, as a 100-meter grouping ends for a team division, we will post paper copies that you will be able to see of all the results for the individual divisions for your athletes. If you go look and you see somebody in your division that their time is wildly higher than everybody else or what their qualifying time was, that is something that you as coaches can come up to the control center and file a protest for, but it's not something that we use the maximum effort rule and do an automatic DQ for. This is something that might be the first time you guys are hearing this as coaches. It's not something we do at the district level. I'm going to take another pause to see if anybody has any questions on that. Again, you're free to unmute. You could also put anything in the chat if you have a question. Sounds like we're good. Okay, we will keep going along. Uniforms. Hopefully we don't need to do a deep dive on uniforms. Anyone majorly out of compliance on uniforms will not be allowed to compete. And again, we give you leniency. We're flexible on uniforms. I had a coach for bocce email me for their state tournament. I have an athlete that I don't know if he's ever seen a pair of khakis in his life. Do we have to wear khaki pants? No. You guys need to have uniformed pants. They need to be appropriate. They can't be leggings, but they don't need to be khaki pants. Some schools I've seen get track and field uniforms, and your students will all roll up in their high school track and field uniforms. Perfect. There are some schools that you guys have team t-shirts. If you can do your best to essentially coordinate a single color of shorts, that's the dream. That's what we're looking for. Something that when I did community program, I thought was a really good investment by a Montgomery County coach for bowling was, you do need khakis for bowling. She used to bring a bin of every size, men's, women's, whatever khakis. If somebody showed up without khakis, she had them. You don't need to do something that extreme, but if you know you have student athletes that are you're asking them all to wear black athletic shorts, I don't know if your athletics department can swing it. I don't know if you personally want to swing it. might not hurt to just bring a pair of every size, small through 3X of black athletic shorts that you buy at Walmart for $8. Not something you have to do, but again, just a recommendation off of something that I've seen successful over the years as a fail-safe. Continuing on uniforms, the biggest thing that we don't want on uniforms is like Under Armour logos. If they're small Under Armour logos, if they're small Nike logos, if they're a small Champion logo, that's totally fine. We just don't want like massive branded logos. I'll be 100% honest with you guys. It's a branding thing. There are, legal things that we can and cannot do within branding, and God forbid something ends up in the right picture and the right person sees it. It's potentially a whole big thing. So again, do your best to make sure they're wearing shorts that it's fine if it has a little logo on it, but not massive branded logos. Unless that is your school uniform and you have a big, I don't know, whatever your mascot is or whatever your team is, that's fine as well.
Oh.
But so that's last thing for two last things actually, now that I'm remembering off the top of my head. Jewelry has been I'm going to air quotes unbanned by NFHS. It's fine to wear. We still highly suggest take earrings out, take off necklaces, don't wear watches, all those kind of things. We highly suggest that you don't do jewelry. And then the other thing is, if you have student athletes that want to wear something under their uniform, whether it be a short sleeve shirt because they don't like the tank top style of a track uniform, whether it be long sleeves because they tend to get cold easily, whether it be long leggings under your team shorts, that's fine. But do your best as a coach to communicate to your students that, hey, you're going to wear something underneath. If you can wear all black, that's what our team's doing. If you want to wear all white underneath, that's what our team's doing. Try to coordinate with your team as best as you can to get monocolor for anything that you're going to wear under your uniform. Again, leggings, don't do leggings. Anybody that's thinking about leggings, just scratch leggings off the board. We need people, again, in athletic shorts, track and field uniforms, whatever the usual par for the course is for competition for track and field or in your district. Do that, no leggings. Again, we want them in sneakers. We don't want them in sandals or boots or anything else. Make sure they are ready to compete in track and field. The other uniform type of thing is we will provide everybody with bib numbers. Each one of your student athletes will have bib numbers. We will give you pins to put them on. They need to be on the front of your athletes from as soon as you check in and register till after you're done with your races altogether. It also doesn't hurt to leave them on for awards pictures because it gives it that really nice track and field look to it as well. But that is up to your discretion as a coach. The additional thing that you see on these bibs are, these are labels we put on the bottom, and they will have your athlete's track event, your athlete's field event, and if they're in a relay on there. It'll have the division that they're in, the day that they're competing, and it'll have a staging time. Just know that that staging time that is on there is a staging time, a rough guesstimate on staging time. Again, we could be running a little ahead. We might be running a little behind, but that's the rough guesstimate on what we anticipate the staging time is. That's not going to be the time that they're on the track. If mom and dad come down, grandma, grandpa come down, whoever, and they're looking at the bib and they say, oh, Michael Smith is going to be on the track at 10:45. Great, we'll be ready for 10:45. And then Michael Smith doesn't get on the track until 11:10 because of staging and the process of staging. Again, just let them know that is the staging time, the report time for staging. That is not the guaranteed time that they will be on the track. Need a timeout for a drink? The humidity's killing me. All right. We're powering on though. Any questions up to this point? Bib numbers, uniforms, any of that kind of stuff. All right, fantastic. We will continue on. Last thing on bib numbers, in this picture where you see the athletes where they have them pinned on, we want it on that tummy area. We want to be able to see your school logo so we can identify what student school it is from. And then If you put it on the belly area, that's the best place we can see it. It's the best place our officials can see it. Don't do on the back. They won't be looking for the back. Don't do on the hip. If you're a cycling person, we don't do on the hip. But please put that bib on the front. You will, once your athlete is done running their track event, though, you will see them come off the track and they will have a little number stuck on their shorts. That's their lane number that we give to them. So once they come off the track with a lane number, they can peel that off. If they want to leave it on for the rest of the day because they think it's cool, they're more than welcome to leave their lane number on as well. Competition areas and limited access. We have our competition areas for the track and the field set up with staging. We have probably 4 or 5 management team members in track staging. We probably have 4, maybe 5, depending on if one extra person comes for field staging. We have enough people to make sure your student athletes are taken care of once they get to staging. We really want you to be the ones that are the ushers and guidance to get them to staging. Once they get to staging, cut them loose. Our people will take care of them. If you guys need to check in on something, if you guys need to see an athlete, if we call you into staging for something, please do check in and do what we need to do. Again, we're flexible. We'll work with you. But the more you guys, and you can, especially parents and other people coming, if your ADs come, whoever it may be, the more you guys stay out of competition areas, off the track, off the field events area, out of staging, the quicker the day is going to go. We get people in, we get them in the right seats, we get the right lane assignments on them. We have somebody pre-stage them on the track before their race. We put them on the line, we start them, we run them, we go. And that process just keeps chugging along at the track. And the same thing happens at the field. If you don't need to be at staging, if you don't need to be on the track, if you don't need to be on the field, please don't be in those areas so we can keep chugging along. Again, please communicate with us if you need to be in one of those areas for an athlete or something. We're more than happy to work with you. Along those lines, everybody in their coach's packet will get one all-access pass. If you have a student athlete that needs escorting through staging till the time that gun goes off on the track, bring your all-access pass down the staging. Say, hey, this is my athlete. I'm checking them in. I have my all-access pass. I really need to go through staging with them. Otherwise, you're going to be chasing my athlete all over staging. Let me do you this favor. That's totally fine. That's why we give you the all-access pass. If you are worried about somebody going out to the field and sitting in field staging out in the field by themselves, bring your all-access pass. Go out to field staging, same thing. Hey, I'm going to hang here with my athletes just to let you know, just in case something happens, I want to be able to support you guys as the management team. We're totally cool with that. If something comes up where you need to communicate with us, again, just communicate, be nice about it, and we're more than happy to accommodate you to a point where it's not interfering with anything. Again, you don't need to be in competition areas. If you don't need to be in staging, don't be there. Be in the stands, enjoy the day, watch your athletes do what you've trained them to do all year, cut them loose. Will teams that have combined get 2 athletes? Yes, if you are a combined team of North Point and Westlake for Charles County, you will get one for the North Point coaches, you will get one for the Westlake coaches. I'm not going to give combined teams one pass and let you guys go into the octagon to fight it out to see who gets the all-access pass. We will accommodate combined teams. That is a great question. Staging. We don't make staging announcements over the overall PA for Division I, 100 meter, Division 101. Like we're not going to make an announcement for every single race that we run. We will make announcements for batches of things that are happening. So when we say, for the first round of everything, we'll say Division 3, everybody in Division 3, which are X, Y, and Z schools, please report to field staging for your field events. That's the overall call for field that will come over the PA speakers. When it comes to the track, we will announce Division 1 will be on the track to start. We are starting with the 100-meter race. Any athletes in the 100-meter race, please report to staging. That's all we're going to call for. If you're not in the 100-meter race, don't go to staging. If we keep cluttering up track staging, it just slows it all down. Additionally, if they call for your race, again, 100-meter race, and you go down there or your student athletes go down there to check in, we're going to have a big whiteboard in which our management team are going to write on there which division specifically for the 100-meter they're looking for. If you or your athletes go down there and you're looking for the 100-meter race and you're in race 115 and we're looking for 101 to 108, don't go near staging. Just leave staging alone. Keep an eye on the whiteboard. They'll update it. Stay in the area, but don't go up to staging to check in because we're just not there yet. Again, we will have the divisions and the report times on the bib label. So also keep an eye on that. That'll keep you pretty close to what your report time should be. Additionally, if someone misses their heat on the track to run a race because they don't report to staging, we will not put them in another race. It's just it did not show for that race and they don't get to run. The track is the most key part where we can't fit people in because we got to keep going. There's a million track events we're going to run on each day. And if we stop to start slotting people in, we'll be there till midnight. So again, while we want you to stay on top of your staging times, we want you to report in a timely manner for your staging times. Be cognizant that you're not checking in too early, but at the same time, don't hear that 100-meter call and be like, oh, well, we're division 115. We'll go down there in, 45 minutes. No, check what your bib label says, see what your report time is, and make a logical call based off of that report time and what we're announcing over the PA. Again, it reminds you about missing heats. If there should be very, very, very little of this. Occasionally, we do run into very little overlap. If there is a scenario where you run into a situation where you have an athlete that's still in field staging, say they're a little slow and a little behind, and they call for your team division and the event that you have an athlete in that needs to be on the track, have them leave field staging, talk to the people at field staging, say, hey, I have an athlete that they called for them to be on a track. The priority is for them to run their track event. We can always send them back to the field event. They're open all day to make up a field event. So again, the primary thing that we need them to do is make sure they report to the track for their track staging event. If we need to send them back to the field for field staging, we can do that. You are also going to get a detailed schedule. Should everything line up and the stars align, we like to print off a schedule that is essentially team by team by your bib number of the order of your kids are going to go in based on the order of races. That should really help you as well. It'll make more sense when we have it in our hands. When we have the coaches meeting on Tuesday and Wednesday morning, we'll go through that. I'm going to pause here when it comes to staging stuff. Questions on staging or the report times or the priority of track being the priority for report times over field events. I haven't seen anything yet. If something pops up, again, if anything we talked about tonight pops into your head, you're more than welcome to throw it in the chat too, and we will cycle back. We will have a section for questions at the end. We'll go county by county, district by district to ask if coaches have questions as well. Just know that there's a chance that we do run ahead for the track events. So there is a chance that if we are running ahead, we'll make an announcement. Hey, just a heads up on the track right now. We're about 5 minutes ahead. Please look at your report times on your bibs and plan accordingly. Again, don't hunker down in track staging because you're scared you're going to miss something. But, be cognizant of the announcements that are being made, the report time on your bib, and float to track staging if you need to check on things. But again, just don't hunker down in that corner. False starts. This is really one of the only DQ major issues that we run into, especially on the track. Again, in effort to accommodate varying abilities, false starts will be charged to the individual, meaning if the student athlete commits the false start, would be allowed another start and would only be disqualified after a second false start. If we have a heat that gets up to the line. Al Ramsey, who's been our head official and starter forever, it feels like, goes up there and goes, on your marks, get set, and somebody accidentally goes, he'll hold it, he'll stop it, he'll call everybody back. We'll get a second restart. If on that second restart somebody goes early, he'll still fire the pistol, but he'll make a note for his timing crew that the person that false started is DQ'd. So again, we get it. People have nerves. You're at a state championship. You got a lot of feelings going. We give you one, but on the second one, pistol goes off, DQ gets enforced. Additionally, we will enforce things like lane infractions, impeding on another person, so on and so forth. So again, things that hopefully you've worked out over the track season, and especially if it happened to an athlete at the district, it's something that you've worked to clean up in the past week or so. Competition accommodations. We are willing to accommodate, reasonable requests to put your athletes in a good position to be successful. An accommodation example I like to give is we have a young lady in one district who is getting over the startling sound of the pistol going off. It's just not something that everyone's used to. So she's getting better. She's getting used to it. An accommodation that we do, we will put her in the furthest lane possible for her divisions, so she's the furthest away from the pistol. Cool, easy. If you have accommodations that you potentially need for an athlete, please reach out to me and Meredith. Copy your district rep on it too, again, just to keep everybody in the loop. But please, if you have any sort of accommodation when it comes to your athlete needing assistance for something, do let me know. And we need to know by that Thursday at 11:59 p.m. I think a lot of coaches that need accommodations or have questions about accommodations have done a really good job about asking earlier in the season. And I think we've gotten over a couple of those scenarios that we needed to cover. But again, if there's anything for coaches that have come up recently or you didn't think about asking for accommodation stuff, please let us know by that 11:59 p.m. on Thursday. Buses. We're going with the same game plan as last year. Ignore bus parking plan A, which is this lot up here. We were hoping FedEx Field was going to work with us to give us access to that parking lot for buses again. With the transition of sale of the Commanders and FedEx Field and stuff like that, it's hard to get communication through to work with them at the moment. So we're going to the bus plan we went to last year, where we are going to park buses. You guys are going to drop off at the front corner of the track here, or if you need to drop somebody that's in a wheelchair, you can pull up this road and drop them right here. Wheelchair accessibility from the front corner is possible. This is a little straighter and flatter. It's going to be really hard to back a bus back down this road though. So just let your bus drivers know. Bus drivers are going to drop you off up here. You guys are going to come into the facility. Again, wheelchair access from there is perfectly fine. Bus drivers will then pull around the backside of the facility and they will park their bus along the back road on the facility here off to the side the best they can. It worked really well last year, so I don't think we'll have any issues. If you have somebody that's coming separate, if you have parents that are asking you where they should park, if you have administrators from your school that are asking you where to park, if you decide to drive separate from your bus that your students are coming on, these blue parking lot areas are totally empty and for you guys to park in. Not a far walk at all, but that's where we are going to have you guys parking your vehicle. All right, some points of emphasis when it comes to check-in. When you arrive the morning of, this is how we want you to proceed so we can keep the wheels turning and keep things moving. When you get off the bus, head coaches should go to the control center tent and check in. You should send assistant coaches, unified partners, and athletes into the stands where your district banner is to sit and wait for opening ceremonies. But head coaches, please go to the control center. The first thing we want you to do is report to us any scratches. Any kids that didn't show up for the day, sick, didn't want to get on the bus, doesn't matter, all the scratches. The scratches also includes any relay changes, any relay changes for anyone that didn't show up. Additionally, you will be given a packet for your team, and combined teams will get separate packets. So again, the combined team of North Point and Westlake will get a North Point and a Westlake packet. The North Point packet and the Westlake packet will have 99.9% of the same things in it, but you will both get a packet. Your packets will have bib numbers. It'll have your credentials for coaches. There are no lunch tickets anymore. I forgot to edit that out. We will have your lunches pre-prepped in boxes for you, so it's one easy pickup for lunches. It'll have safety pins. It'll have paperwork for everything that you need for the day. It'll have a copy of your roster. It'll have a copy of your report times, blah, 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 all that kind of stuff. We also want you, if you put in for any accommodations, if you reach out before Thursday and have any accommodations that you need to reach out for, you can confirm them as well. Hey, I have an athlete that I reached out for, and I need her in the last lane of her race. Let me check the rosters. Great, that's here. Perfect. We'll make that happen. And then please confirm your relay runners. Again, even if you didn't have anybody that didn't show up, please confirm, hey, for my Frederick High School 2 relay teams, the 4x1, these are the 4 athletes. By the 4x2, these are the 4 athletes. We're good to go for our relay today. Last thing that I'm going to do while I remember to take lunch tickets off here is for lunches. Lunches will come in roughly 10:30, 11 o'clock-ish. When they come in from Wawa, they come in boxes of, here's all the turkey, here's all the ham, here's all the tuna, here's the pretzels. We have a volunteer team that will sort through all of that stuff. And when you turn in your lunch order that says we need 6 turkey, 10 ham, and 2 tuna lunches, we will pre-package that for you so that when we say lunches are ready to be picked up at the control center, you and 1 or 2 of your athletes or unified partners come down. We will hand you a box with every type of lunch you've ordered. We will hand you a case of water. We will salute you and send you on your way. There's no lunch line. There's no tickets. We don't do that no more. Not efficient, and it takes too much of your day. We want to get you your lunches and send you on your way. So just be prepared for that. Again, we will pre-package your team's lunches into 1 box based on your lunch order, hand you a case of water or 2 cases if you need 2 cases for the size of your team, and you can go right back into the stands and enjoy lunch. When it comes to awards, like I mentioned, when it comes to the schedule and how we do things by team division, as soon as your team's division, if you're in Division 1 and your relays are over, start making your way to awards, because we're going to tabulate what the results are for everything, and we're going to do awards for Division 1. Again, we need all of the relays to finish to make sure we have all the pieces of the puzzle when it comes to scores so we can tabulate it. Again, you may feel, or you may be tracking your results throughout the day and say, hey, we have this many first, second, and third place finishes based off the weighted score, so on and so forth. This is where I think we are. Until those relays come in, you don't necessarily know. Even if you don't have a relay team running, there could be a team that's 3 points behind you and gets a first place finish in a relay, and it changes the standing. So just be prepared for that. We will make announcements for awards saying, essentially, now that Division 1 relays have finished, please report to awards. Division 1 teams, please report to awards. Make your way over to awards. When you do come to award ceremonies and you are awarded, we want your student athletes wearing their competition wear. We don't want them putting on sweatpants or hoodies or running to the bathroom as soon as they're done with their relay to change into street clothes or whatever it may be. Make sure they're showing up in their competition wear. They can leave the bibs on. They don't have to leave the bibs on. That's up to you guys. The one tweak to that will be, if for some reason it's a cold day, we're not going to yell at you if you're a student athlete to put on sweatpants and a sweatshirt. It'd be nice if they could peel them off for awards for some good pictures for you guys and stuff. But if it's cold, we get it. So that's, again, the game plan is relays are done for your division. Your mindset should instantly be, let's get over to awards. Additionally, sometimes there's a little bit of a lull between relays finishing and award results coming in. So please have patience with us. And I always recommend, please, during that time, clean up your area and make sure everything's picked up and thrown away. We want the facility to look just as good as when we came in, if not better. This is a super high caliber facility that allows us to come in there and to give your student athletes a really good state tournament experience. We want to be welcomed back year after year, so please clean up after yourselves as you go along. When it comes to awards, and we do team awards, we go lowest place to highest place. Just like your division tournaments, we will go, fourth, third, second, first. We'll go sixth, fifth, fourth, third, second, first. So just be prepared for that. When it comes to combined teams, again, I will keep using the North Point / Westlake team. That team will be combined and awarded as a combined team. There will not be separate awards for North Point. There will not be separate awards for Westlake. They are a combined team. They get awarded as a combined team based off of their points that they earn as a combined team. So again, just be prepared for that. Once you have your awards, once your area's cleaned up, you're good to depart. If you want to stay to watch other teams, if you want to stay to watch the final relays, you're more than welcome to. But once you have your awards, you're also welcome to get on your bus and head home. Please take down my cell phone number. Again, if you see a odd New Jersey cell phone number, that's me. Within this next week, if you get a New Jersey phone call, that's me. It may come up as spam. You may consider me as a spam number, but not for this week. Anytime after this week or before this week, that 973 New Jersey number is spam, but not this week. If I call you, there's a reason I'm calling you guys. Additionally, if you're running behind, we get that this facility is right off of the 495 Beltway. We understand on Tuesday and Wednesday mornings what the 495 Beltway looks like. If you're going to be running late, if you're running into transportation problems, please reach out and call me. Call me, text me, however works for you. That's fine with me, but just be proactive in the communication. The more proactive you are, the more proactive we can be to support you, to give you a good experience. So again, take down my cell phone number, and if you have a question, even this week as we're leading up, you can always reach out. I do have 2 more district bocce tournaments that I need to make happen this week too, so bear with me on response times as well. Before you leave your bus in the morning, get your bus driver's cell phone number. Let your bus driver know that, hey, when we're done, actually, when we're at awards, I'm going to call you that we're being awarded. Bring that bus around, let us hop on the bus and let us go. Getting your bus driver's number is super helpful. Especially, it could be super helpful for schools that are local, mostly probably the Prince George's schools. If you have buses that drop you off and then go back to other school business, if there's a chance that we're running ahead and you told them that you needed to be picked up at 4 o'clock and it looks like you're going to be done with awards and everything by 3:15, give that bus driver a call, give the dispatcher a call, whoever it may be, but have those phone numbers ready so your student athletes aren't stuck and sitting around as well. Again, I mentioned the concession stand might be available. You are more than welcome to pack extra waters in a cooler. You're more than welcome to have a PB&J making party the night before and pack them with you to bring. You're welcome to bring snacks. Again, we do provide lunch for everybody that's registered. That's your student athletes, that's you as coaches. If you have anybody that's a paraprofessional or somebody else, please let us know by Thursday as well. We can put them on the roster for you. If they've done all the volunteer paperwork, we can include them. But everybody that's a registered person gets a lunch. If you want to pack additional stuff, if you want to pack Chewy bars or fruit or whatever it may be, you're more than welcome to do that and bring that with you. Merchandise. We will have merchandise. We have some of these hats. I wear this hat all the time. Some really nice long sleeve, short sleeve shirts. We have really cool fanny packs that have been going pretty well with folks. So again, remind folks that we will have merch for purchase. We will have healthy athletes demonstrations, and all sorts of other stuff. If you do not know who your district rep is, you should take down their information. If we're this far in the season and you don't know who your district rep is, I'm also mildly concerned about that, but we will We will sort that out later. That's not a problem I'm looking to sort out tonight. But if you do not have their email, please take their email down. This is the part of the show where I'm going to go county by county, and we will open it up for questions county by county. Nobody has questions, we will pass to the next county, and we will keep moving along. So, starting with Allegheny County. Do we have any Allegheny County coaches that have a question, or Allegheny County district rep that has a question? Taking silence as a no. Charles County. Do we have any Charles County coaches and or Charles County district rep that has a question? All right, we're 2 for 2. Frederick County. Any Frederick County coaches and or district reps that have a question? Okay. Garrett County. Do we have any Garrett County coaches or district rep that has a question? We have one Garrett County team, so we have one Garrett County question. All right. Prince George's County. Do we have any Prince George's County coaches questions or district rep questions?
Yes, I have one PG
Yep.
coach. First of all, hello everyone. Hello, Zach.
All right.
Quick question. My students wear sweatpants. My babies don't like to wear shorts, and that is our uniform. All of our shirts are matching, and everyone wears the same color sweatpants. But that's what we've been wearing all year because I only have one that will put on a pair of shorts. So,
Lori, if sweatpants are your uniform, that's fine. If that's what your uniform is, that's perfectly fine, and that's a great question to ask. Now I know that your team is going to be wearing sweatpants. That's their uniform, and that's totally cool. Essentially, we don't. If you as a coach want them wearing shorts, and that's what they're supposed to be wearing, then we don't want them wearing sweatpants. But if sweatpants is your uniform, that's perfectly fine with me.
thank you. Have a good evening.
Absolutely, no problem, Lori. Second call for Prince George's County coaches questions and or district rep questions. All right, that was a good question from Lori, though. Washington County, any Washington County coaches that have questions or district rep questions?
Hey, Zach, it's Barb.
Hey, Barb.
Can we just talk at the end? I have a question for you, but I don't think we need to hold everybody else up for it.
Absolutely perfect. All right, so that'll be no questions from Washington. I'll talk to Barb after. That's it for the presentation. The only last two things that I'm going to cover, again, the two things I really need you guys as coaches to be on the lookout for this week and make happen from your end so that we can all have a good experience. One, review the rosters, check your student athletes, check their events, get back to us by Thursday night on what needs to be changed. Two, lunch order forms, make sure you fill them out, make sure you send them into me and Meredith so we can print them out. We can have your lunch orders ready to go on site, and that's a nice quick process. The only other thing that I'm going to say is thank you guys for everything you've done this season. I know a lot of you are not only coaches, but you are teachers and administrators. Things aren't easy in school. I don't know that everybody realizes that, but I realize that you guys wear a lot of hats, you do a lot of different things, and you're awesome unified sports coaches. So I can't thank you guys enough for the work and the opportunity that you put in for your student athletes, because all these experiences do change their lives and create opportunities for them that they may not get elsewhere. But because of your hard work and the things that you put in and the extra steps you take, they have a really good experience and you make a lot of things happen for them. Again, can't thank you enough. And that's it. I'm going to stop the recording. You guys are good to go. And I will send out the follow-up stuff tonight/tomorrow. Thank you.